Our next guest, in many respects, particularly from my side of the fence, needs very little in the way of an introduction, but I feel it's important to outline his background, which has paved the way for the development and introduction of the Drive to Survive program. He is an Australian motor racing champion in various different categories. I've worked with him in television. He's a media personality, a motoring expert. Quite often you've seen him on programs like Today Tonight and A Current Affair, raising awareness of this very issue and some of the poor standards of driving and the poor standards of vehicles that are unfortunately on our roads on occasions. He's also worked with 7 Australian world champions, and hopefully, if our own Mark Webber can win the 2010 Formula One title, we've got 2 rounds left, Brazil this weekend and a final event in just over a week in Abu Dhabi. Hopefully Mark can do that, and that would be phenomenal. He's an Academy graduate, and that would really help raise the profile once again of Drive to Survive. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Luff to tell us more about the program.
Thanks, Rusty. How are we all? Anyone a bit nervous? You should be. You'll be on stage shortly performing. But what a privilege to be in front of you people here this evening. I truly mean that. And first and foremost, please a big special round of applause for the Liverpool Catholic Club who've made this possible. Thank you. It's always challenging to stand in front of an audience and talk about things, and I guess you could say when you go back to the beginning, we all come into the world pretty much equal, and as we said at the Drive to Survive program out at Sydney Dragway, we do have choices in life. Life is about choice, and sometimes we can make smart choices and sometimes we make some foolish choices. I think back when I first started driving in Melbourne, my first car was a 1957 FE Holden, and a lot of you here are looking around saying, what? We'll go and look up your history books. Our special guest tonight, Alan Jones, is nodding his head up there. He can relate to that vintage car, but they weren't really high-tech. They weren't very flash at all. And I thought as a young driver, and I'd been taught to drive by my father, like most of you people here, when we ask at the program, who taught you? Well, who are teaching? It's mums and dads, last-minute learner driving lessons, and off we go to get the licence, do the reverse park, the 3-point turn, the hill start. And on a good day, if you pass, sensational. You get a ticket to ride or a ticket to kill or thrill. And tragically in Melbourne, in my mighty 57 FE Holden, I wrapped it around a telegraph pole. And I'm lucky to be standing here talking to you people. And that changed my life enormously because it makes you realise that motor cars are replaceable, we human beings aren't. And that lifted me, I guess you could say, to think maybe there's a better way of learning to drive and so forth. And I got involved in what's called advanced defensive driver training back in 1972, so that tells you a bit how old I am. But it's like everything else, that you can do a lot of things, and it has changed my life. I've had my own business for the past 28 years, and we're very privileged through the Drive to Survive program to have our partners here tonight, our support partners and sponsors being Hyundai, who have come on board. You can see all their vehicles around here. And one of the most important things we're passionate about, the last point of contact between us and the road, are the tyres, and we've got full support from Tyres and More in Yokohama and Advan. When you think about it, we all hear on television when there's been a crash, and we call them crashes, not an accident, because people at the RTA like to say that accidents happen. I say no, they don't. They're caused, and the largest cause is human error. As we know, we put rubbers on pencils because people make mistakes. And when you look at statistics on our roads, road carnage is unacceptable. And if you really look at it, it's all because of the lack of driver education. We can have all the hard-fisted legislation. Who's heard all those slogans? How fast are you going now? Speed kills. I'm sure later Warren Luff's going to talk about that with Greg Rust, and you'll find it very interesting. But getting into this industry, as I said, has changed my life, and working with people like Kostya Tszyu, boxing champion. One thing that Kostya impacted on my life was the importance of vision. Could you imagine Kostya Tszyu in the boxing ring with his eyes shut, trying to take out the opponent? Wouldn't be very successful, you'd agree? And all of you people here in this auditorium tonight, you students who have been through the program, know about the SMART formula. And the first part of the S in SMART is sight. You have to be a fully sighted driver to be able to drive effectively. You can't drive at Bathurst with your eyes shut. You can't drive down Parramatta Road or down here through Liverpool on the Hume Highway. If you take your eye off the ball in sport, you very simply drop the ball. It's that simple. It's not difficult stuff. But tragically, a lot of us are only passing the test to do the very basic things. And that's where the Drive to Survive program has really come into its own. And we work in many areas. We're a bit like McDonald's. There's a big difference between a Big Mac and a salad. And there's a big difference between an advanced program, and there's a big difference between a defensive driving program. Drive to Survive is about changing, hopefully, people's attitudes. When you change the attitude, you impact on the behaviour. But tragically, a lot of government people, they really believe, no, it's driving programs only make people a little bit careless and reckless. Well, again, as I said before, it comes back to choice. As I said, when I first started driving, I thought I knew it all. I was an expert. Just ask me, I'll tell you. And you could say that enthusiasm could exceed ability. And there were many times there that I'm just standing in front of you where it was luck and it wasn't good management. And if we look at statistics, young people are hopelessly overrepresented in motor vehicle accidents. That novice driver bracket is actually from 17 to 25. And many insurance companies have a lot of trouble with young people. In fact, tonight we have Wendy Machin here from the NRMA Motoring Services. She's the president, and she's going to be sort of actually one of our judges judging you people. So is anyone a bit nervous now? Female judge, a bit more sucking up on the stage. I can see it now. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to your performances. I'd just like to say it was a fantastic privilege to be associated with a lot of you at the Drive to Survive program. I'd just like to say a couple of special thanks. This program would never have happened if it wasn't for the support of the club, which I've mentioned. But one person in the club, Dave Idler, please put your hands together for Dave. Phenomenal. This guy, single-handedly, I've got to tell you, this guy, he's a genius. He works tirelessly and nothing ever seems to upset him unless people don't RSVP to him. But anyway, that's another story. But another person in the auditorium that some of you people would have come upon out at the Drive to Survive programs at Sydney Dragway, the legal place to race, not the streets, is Ian Kimber. I know he's floating around there. Big Bird Ian Kimber, who's one of my trainers, been with me now for 17 years. So put your hands together for Ian Kimber. Very valued person, part of my team. There's a lot of stress in our job, I can assure you, when you get to sit beside people in a motor car and they try and impress you with their skills. In fact, last Friday I was down at Wakefield Park Raceway doing some private tuition. And I got in a guy's V8 Monaro and I'm in the passenger seat. How much control did I have? Try that again. That's like when you're a passenger, you are a passenger. In fact, Alan Jones from 2GB Radio, who's here tonight, he's come along as a supporter of ours. I noticed when he arrived, he was actually sitting in the passenger seat, so that's a really scary experience. And he won't take up the offer of going for a drive in the V8 supercar with my son Warren at $295, so 295 kilometres an hour. I think he's a bit of a wuss, but we'll have to talk him into it. What do you reckon, everyone? Should he go for a ride? Yeah. There you are, Alan, bit of extra pressure for you. But look, I'm not going to waffle on too much. I could stand up here and talk about it, but it's an absolute privilege to be associated with this program and all of our support partners and so forth. And as I said, if you really think about it, what's going to happen here tonight will hopefully change and impact on the road ahead for you people. There is no reverse gear on life. Life only moves forward, and it's based on the choices you're going to make. Hopefully, they're smart choices. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.